Invasion of the Dream World. Short story by JameliaAlicia. Everything was covered from top to bottom. There was light coming through the deep red robes, swaying against the air. The swaying of the robes spoke with the wind and blazed with the sun of light. I was met by the deep brown eyes of a man and a woman, with an interlocking eye contact between the robes. The robes spoke of royalty and wealth. Their hues were a blend of blue and green, camouflaging the manor house and the interior that guided the maids' and servants' footsteps. While walking, they would murmur spells of protection and fortune to cover their feet and those around them. The more I distanced myself from the robes, the more I detailed the description of the saris in these colors. Some words spoke peace and songs of wisdom that can only be described as mantras ancient to the ear. No words could translate these syllables of words combined. I opened my eyes and was met by the deep-set green eyes of my mom. She looked down at me and crinkled her nose with happiness. She whispers, "Wake up, sleeping beauty." Her eyes spoke a rich history of forest trees, met by the eyes of an unknown man. The woman sleeping was named Rosie, and her mother, Josie. Rosie opened her eyes and started her day as a 26-year-old woman living at home with her mother. "We're going to see the doctor at the hospital today. I'm very anxious, but I know it will be good to know a bit more about myself," said Rosie. "Yes, dear, I'm doing this for you, just for you," said Rosie's mom, Josie. Josie changed the gear of the car and looked at the window that revealed clouds and beaming sunlight on an early spring morning in April. They started the engines, and in a couple of minutes, they were off. The doctor tapped his pen. He went by the name Dr. Khan. The glasses he was wearing made his dark brown eyes look bigger than usual. He was looking down at the documents and scanning each page with his pen. He cleared his throat and said, "So, everything you see around you is connected to the dream world. You cannot differentiate between what is real and not. Do you make up scenarios of the dream world?" said Dr. Khan. "Yes, I do. I make up scenarios and I rehearse what happens in the dream world. Sometimes I feel I am connected to the dream world, when in reality the world is showing me something different," said Rosie. Rosie's deep almond hazel eyes scanned the room, and she shyly plays with the corner of her curly brown hair. Rosie, Mum Josie, holds on to Rosie's hands, playing with her soft, delicate fingers. A moment of silence hovered in the room, leaving Josie and Rosie to look directly at the doctor, waiting for a response. "I conclude the assessment that your daughter has ADHD and autism. I suspected this from the repetitive dreams she has been having and the masking by speaking as if the dreams are real," said Dr. Khan. Dr. Khan glided his chair across the room to the printer and, in a fashion, got the documents from the printer. He handed the documents to Josie. Josie lightly smiled at the documents and said, "This is good. For years I wanted to know what my daughter had, and now I know," said Josie. Days and weeks went by, and the lives of Josie and Rosie went by. Rosie was a 26-year-old woman working in a law firm in her local area in London. When Rosie got back from work, Josie opened the door of their house and let her daughter in. She put her jacket and bag to the side and sat down on the couch. "I have a letter from Dr. Khan about your diagnosis. However, he has mentioned more information about the dreams you have been having," said Josie. "Okay, I see. Anything else?" said Rosie. "Yes, he has said in the letter that the dreams you have been having are from an ancient belief about the dream world from the Hindu faith in India. He did research and looked into your blood and DNA and found that you are a reincarnation of your Indian ancestor. The dreams you are experiencing are a reincarnation of what your ancestor had endured at the time. Meaning, what you are experiencing is all real. It was real back then, but it is real now," said Josie. Rosie took a moment to pause, and she stared past Josie and back at her mum in the background. The only sound is the sound of children walking home from school on a Tuesday evening in April. "I see. This is all a bit confusing and a bit shocking for me. My whole life I thought the dreams I had were not real, and now I have an Indian ancestor who experienced the same thing as me. Yes, I have not told you everything about your family. As you know, your father is Spanish and I am English," said Rosie's mom. "Okay, the Indian ancestor must be a distant relative, either on your side or my dad's side of the family," said Rosie. Josie nodded, looked at the documents, and made a suggestion. Maybe to know more, we can visit India to find out about your Indian ancestor. This may help you to know more about why you experienced those dreams," said Rosie. A couple of weeks went by, and Dr. Khan revealed to Rosie that the ancient belief came from philosophy and science. He kindly booked the flight to the south of India for the mum and daughter. Things were changing, and yet all of this led to one thing: her ADHD and autism. The flights were booked, and now it was time for some additional research. The sun rose on the vast, crowded country of South India. Echoes of vibrancy and rich hues cornered streets, and the scent of spices and herbs filled the air with richness. Josie and Rosie were walking side to side in the streets of South India. Rosie was looking down at the map on her phone. "We need to go to the Buddha temple first. However, no one in this village speaks English, only a few," said Rosie. "Okay, just follow the signs above as you can see," said Rosie's mom. Rosie looked up at the signs that had carvings of a Buddha temple near the village of Rishfu. They continued to walk as they got to the temple. They realized they were greeted by statues of Buddha monks carved in gray and brown. Around the statues, sacred pink lotuses were hanging like a necklace. This brought peace and serenity to Rosie's mind. As a sign of this, she looked up at the crystallized blue sky. Josie points ahead at the Buddha temple and sees a Buddha sitting by the door in a meditated state. She walks quietly and whispers, "Do not make a sound. The Buddha is in a meditative state of peace," said Rosie's mom. Rosie walked next to her mom out of fear of the unknown, and as she walked closer to the Buddha, this fear disappeared and turned into curiosity and strength. As they approached the Buddha, they could hear humming. The humming sound was a combination of both a mantra chant and vibrational practices to cleanse the mind. No one spoke unless needed to in this moment. Buddha started to hum a tune and looked directly at Rosie. "What brings you here?" said the Buddha. "My ancestral connection," Rosie said. Rosie's mom sat down and mirrored the Buddha, and Rosie looked across at her mom. "Yes, indeed. Welcome. What is your name?" said the Buddha. "My name is Rosie, and this is my mum Josie." The Buddha smiled and continued to repeat the mantras in Hindi. "I am curious about my ancestral connection in India and would like to know my ancestor's name," said Rosie. The Buddha looked deeply at Rosie. Some said his eyes were wise and told many stories of intellect. His eyes were soul-searching, and he found his answer. "Your ancestor is Indian. She goes by the name Aditi Singh, who migrated to the south of India in the 19th century. Some say she met a man whom she fell in love with. His name was Frederick, and he came from England." "I see. This must have come from my mother's maternal side," said Rosie. "Yes, you're right. Your ancestor, Aditi, experienced a connection to the dream world, which explains why you are here." "How did you know that? You must have known I was here," said the Buddha. "I knew, just didn't say as I prefer to rely on intuition rather than the mind," said the Buddha. Without any doubt, Rosie knew she was right and she was in the right place at the right time. The Buddha knew his history, and without a doubt, he had a lot of information about her ancestor, Aditi. He didn't need to read a book. He was attuned to a higher vibration of the past. The songs of the ancestors had been sung and answered his mantras. He was right. The dream world was being invaded in the past of 19th century India. The Buddha knew now that the dream world was still being invaded by an unknown entity with no name, but its aura spoke of violence and corruption of the minds of individuals. However, Rosie's autistic brain sharpened her intellect and attuned her to the entity's motives. She knew what would happen next. With these findings, she uncovered something more intriguing.